I've never met a successful person because you ask them, are you successful? And they go, well, yeah, but it's not until I've got this amount of money or I've got this yacht or whatever. It's always somewhere in the future. Money is just a symbol of our own value, isn't it? Any of us that have been bullied or neglected as children will have issues around our worth. Your history of various kind of traumatic experiences put you on a bit of a back foot. I have a history of addiction, which if you could cure me, I wouldn't take the pill. Because I know that the positive side of that addictive part of me is like I just wrote the first draft of a book in about 6 weeks. I know that's because I get consumed by it. I'm addicted.
If you reach a certain level of success and you seem to have got stuck there, which I think I have done, then this is going to be a very interesting video for you because I wanted to explore how much mindset and our psychology can get in the way of expanding our business, for instance. So I'm trying to build my business from 6 figures to 7 figures. And I've been running this business 20 years and I've never got to that 7-figure mark, never got above 200K. So why is that? Is there perhaps, rather than missing some strategy that is the key, is it, but there's something in me where I'm holding myself back? So in order to answer that question and to explore that question as a broader topic for everybody else who has ever wondered about that, I'm going to go and speak to my therapist, a man who I've known for over 20 years and been working with for over 20 years, who knows me intimately, and ask the honest questions like, what's wrong with me, Jerry? And find out what his answers are. And we get into some really interesting topics. We talk about, are all successful people, are all creatives and entrepreneurs crazy? Yes. But what's that look like? And what are the upsides? And what are the downsides of it? How do you become comfortable with where you are so that you can actually enjoy your success? Because otherwise you'll forever be dissatisfied, and that's not a good place to be. And the third thing is we just get into the whole topic of how our psychology might hold us back from success, even if we have all the other pieces in place. Things like, can a fear of intimacy mean that it's going to mess up your business, particularly if you have a client-based business like mine, where you're working with other people in quite an intimate way? So let's go get into it.
So Jerry, you have known me for 22
Since
years.
you were a child.
Yeah.
We were both young.
When I was still at Deloitte as a senior managing consultant, I wanted to quit and work for myself. And I wanted to ask you your opinion on why am I not, mega famous and rich by now? I mean, I'm not doing too bad, right? 3 best-selling books and a business that works. But why haven't I got to the levels that I feel like I could have done? That's the frame of what I wanted to talk to you about. Since you're my therapist, who could know better than that?
I mean, I think there's well, like with everything, there's multiple layers. I think you're extraordinarily successful. So if you're measuring it, we can all find people who show that we're not doing very well.
Yeah.
I think that it's a bit of a glass half empty thing. If you focus on, oh, I haven't got this, I haven't got that yet, you're always going to reinforce that message.
Yeah.
And I love that Bob Dylan quote, your success is getting up in the morning, going to bed at night, and doing what you want in between. So I think you live the life that you promote of play. Well, it might not always feel like play, but you're not working for Deloitte anymore.
No.
And you got a nice lifestyle and you do what you want and you help people. And I think the more any of us, I've never met a successful person because you ask them, are you successful? And they go, well, yeah, but it's not until I've got this amount of money or I've got this yacht or whatever. It's always somewhere in the future. So I think we need to think about the successes that we have already rather than the ones that are always just out of reach, like some kind of Greek myth, it's always just out of reach. So I think focusing on the success that you've already manifested. Then there's the deeper stuff, which, money and our own self-esteem and value, it's all woven together. And I'll be really brutally honest with you, most of the people, I come from a public school background, and so I've mixed with quite elitist type people. They all just expect it. if you
Yeah.
expect to have, where's my £5 million bonus? And
I'm
and
so
that kind
jealous of those people. Those people who just sort of go like, well, of course this was
Yeah.
bound to happen.
I mean, I don't expect to be a millionaire, so I'm not even in the
Yeah.
running. I think if you feel entitled to walk into certain places, it's not all about class or elitism or where you went to school, but there's a degree of confidence. That's, I'm focusing on the more I'm being judgmental, the negative side,
Yeah.
that kind of elitist thing of, well, of course I should have all this,
Yeah.
or entitlement. But that's the kind of shadow side of confidence. And I think if you can be very healthy and very balanced and help the world, and from that place of confidence, it doesn't have to be elitism. So any of us that have been bullied or neglected as children will have issues around our worth, and money is just a symbol of our own value, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm writing this book, Crazy Successful, but the central premise is that successful people are usually pretty screwed up. I mean, you've got clients who are famous musicians and artists and performers and all sorts of things. Does that track with you?
Have you met anyone that isn't screwed up? This is where your book falls to the ground.
Well, that's an interesting question. Yeah, but some people are. That hunger that you described, which I thought was really well described, of how like I've never met a successful person because they all think they're not successful. I think that's a marker of what makes somebody driven, and not everybody has that. And some people are quite content to just have a normal job and not strive for fame and wealth or anything like that. So the people who do, it seems to me, are usually driven by something that's not entirely healthy. But tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I don't think you're wrong. It's performers often have a degree of neglect in their background. So you if you're, I mean, this goes for politicians as well. If you're drawn to being in the public eye, whatever shape or form, there is often the case that there's some kind of, you've been overlooked in the past, and so you're seeking that out. But the kind of positive craziness that we're talking about, I think that's where it, especially with creative people, that's where it kind of tips into OCD type behaviors. I have a history of addiction, which if you could cure me, I wouldn't take the pill, because I know that the positive side of that addictive part of me is, like, I just wrote the first draft of a book in about 6 weeks. I know that's because I get consumed by it. I'm addicted. I'll wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'll be down here for 3 hours writing before I start my day job. So I think that pathology, it's if you harness it, it can be a wonderful driver. That I guess if you're just going to get up and go to work in a shop or whatever, like, those kind of things, I kind of envy that mindset where I'd love to be happy working in Halfords. So that what you're describing of people who are happy to get up and just go to work, I think, oh God, well, that's probably true success, isn't it? Because can you imagine what Elon Musk or any of these people, their lives must be hell.
Well, even Elon Musk says he wouldn't want to be me. I mean, there's lots of reasons why he wouldn't want to be Elon Musk, but he's not a happy soul, I don't think. So, and in terms of why I haven't just marched on to making millions, which other people have done, doing exactly the same as me. I mean, executing better, but broadly the same work, which is helping people make their businesses work, basically. Why haven't I got there?
I mean, I'm hesitating because I think I have a rather prejudiced view of wealth, and it's not fair, because I think, if I was just going to dig into my own kind of judgmental side, there's definitely a part of me that probably because of the school I went to, I have a chip on my shoulder against very wealthy people. So part of the answer, and I don't think this is untrue, it's just a bit skewed, is you're not ruthless enough. I think you've got to be quite ruthless. And that's clearly not true of everyone. But some of the kind of more oligarch figures that Donald Trump, I mean, this is someone you could say is very successful. And he would, it's the same as Elon Musk, they would tear your liver out and have it for breakfast to make $1. So I think there's that aspect of it. But like I say, that's clearly not true of all wealthy people. But you're not particularly ruthless.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm more sensitive than your average, super successful people, because there's a kind of, they may have all sorts of other problems, but there's a kind of robustness to them where they are less likely to spend all night worrying about something, some piece of feedback they got, for instance.
Yeah, that's, you're very cautious and thoughtful, and I don't know that makes you the kind of reptilian, go-getter kind of person,
I'm
but
basically a creative, not an entrepreneur. I think that's part of it.
yeah.
But you were saying earlier before we started recording that you weren't sure you should mention this, but something to do with fear of intimacy also.
I mean, that, how I think we've got one relationship, us and the world. So how we interface with anything, anyone, is going to be reflected in, how we are in intimate relationships, friendship relationships, business relationships. And I remember giving you feedback like 15 or 20 years ago about how you walked in the room looking like someone, like I was about to attack you or something bad was going to happen. So I think that history, again, your history of having we can talk about it now because she's dead, an overwhelming mother, kind of smothering mother, and various kind of traumatic experiences put you on a bit of a back foot. I'm clearly not from, the most balanced upbringing myself either, but my strategy is to get close to people. And I have no ambitions to be a millionaire, but I hate marketing. And so I do long-term relationships. And so in terms of my business, you've been paying me for 25 years.
Yeah.
You don't form, you're beginning to, and you do have long-term friendships, but you don't form the same kind of intimate relationships that I do, which again, not essential for business, but my model, which gives me a kind of certain, I always, when people talk about job security, I always say, well, I need to get fired by about 60 people in one day to be out of work. I feel secure because I've developed the relationships and I put a lot into that. So I don't have to keep reselling. I think you have to keep reselling.
Yeah, and I think that's changing because I used to be very nervous about doing one-to-one work with clients. And then I got over that. And also that's maybe represented by having some good friendships and a partner now. So that's
really significant.
Yeah, largely. And it's all, as you've said, it all kind of tracked across the same period. Partly from working with you.
It's not coincidence. As you get closer to people, your relationship to the whole world changes.
Yeah. So what do I need to do now then? Is there anything left, if I'm determined to make a couple of million to retire on, which apparently requires about 5.5 million, so I can give the government 2/3 of it. What's going to enable me to get to that stage?
I think it's really deepening your connection with the people that you can help. And I don't know, because you're looking at a much bigger market than me. I always say I am the greatest therapist in the world for about 50 or 60 people, and the other 8 billion, not so good. I think identifying your market, which you're good at, and really putting your energy into that rather than trying to sell to everybody is going to help. And so I think as you develop a closeness with people in general, that can only help, but also recognizing how successful you are already,
Yeah, that's what
I've said this, I think it actually came out of a session with you, and I talk about it all the time, but recognizing, I think I was pretty shaky on my kind of hourly fee. It's like, how do I put a value on 1 hour of chatting to me? And I think it was in a conversation with you where I was like, I see you're not paying me for an hour, you're paying me for the last 61 years. And all the shit that I've been through, divorce, breakdowns, addiction, boarding school, every trauma, every difficult thing, every tear that I've ever shed, that's what you pay me for. You don't pay me for an hour of my time. So I think the more you inhabit that depth of knowledge and wisdom, and I think you're a very knowledgeable person, but this is something I only realized last year. I was in Peru and I had this realization.
while you were on ayahuasca.
I wasn't on ayahuasca. Someone gave me some medicine cards. I'm not even into that kind of stuff, but I was really scared because I was on an ayahuasca thing in the jungle. And I pulled one of these cards, and it explained my whole fucking life in a way where it said you can get a lot of knowledge from but like reading about plant medicines, and you can do a thesis on it, and you can do a deep dive on ChatGPT, all this stuff. That was pre-ChatGPT, but you can get a lot of knowledge. If you want wisdom, you got to drink the stuff. And I think you're an unusual mix of, you're very knowledgeable, but you've also lived, and I don't know how many people in your field have done as much therapy and personal growth work as you have. So you're a hybrid.
Yeah.
I think the more you recognize your own uniqueness and put an appropriate value on that and connect on a heart level, I don't know if you'll make 2 million from it. I'm the worst person in the world to ask about retirement, but I think it's someone asked me recently how much did I make, and I wasn't dodging it, but I said I make enough. It's a really good salary, so I think you can make enough. 2 million. I'm sure if you get to 2 million, you, like you say, you need 5 million, and then you need 10 million. I don't know that attitudinally, unless you can orientate yourself to the success you already have. I don't know if there is such a thing as enough, but if you recognize you're enough, I think anyone gets to that place, they're probably going to make more money or be comfortable with whatever they generate.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. Thanks, Jerry. And people might be interested in what you're doing at the moment on Substack.
I mean, at the moment, there's a lot going on. We've got a film. I'm here tonight with you to do our group that's been going for 22 years, instead of being in Paris for the premiere of the film that's just coming out tonight. Which I mean, that's a choice. I love the work we do here, but that's coming out, and I'm sad I can't be there for that. The film's called Mayday, and that's about some of the work that I do. It's about a retreat that we did, so that's out, and that'll be available on Vimeo and through my website. I'm doing a lot of writing on Substack. I'm collaborating with Philippa Perry, who's another therapist, and we're doing little conversations around letters. She's got a kind of agony aunt thing on Substack, so we discuss some of them and look at our responses to people's problems.
Cool. Okay. Thanks, Jerry. I'll go and process that. Cheers.